Okay, we will try this again without having the microphone on mute. Basically, the computer just crashed again, and I'm running it off my laptop, which is definitely not optimal, but it's what I've got at the moment, since my old gaming computer that I replaced this summer is currently at a friend's place. I should go pick it up. Would make things easier, I guess. But I think it might be related to heat issues because my laptop gets insanely warm. And at least one of the times when it didn't crash for a few hours, yeah, boom. One of the times it didn't crash, I actually had it sort of lifted up on a cardboard box, so half the underside of the laptop was hanging off to the side, and especially the left side, which gets incredibly warm because that's where the active graphics card is. And I can hear on the fan still, even though I've lifted it up a little bit now, so it should get a little bit more air underneath it. Hopefully a bit better cooling, but I'm guessing it's just an overheating component somewhere, and then it crashes. And yes, it's a laptop. I have my old stationary desktop gaming computer at a friend's house, so I should go pick it up. Has a reasonably fresh Windows installation, and then just try to run it off of that. I think that will make things so much better and more stable, because all the components I'm using, I mean, I'm using a Canon M200 camera. That is very much a standard camera to do. It works. It's a nice camera. Wouldn't like to use it for photography, for personal preferences. No technical reasons, just my personal preference. And yeah, they get heat drop. Mine does too. It's actually an old gaming laptop that's supposed to be able to handle this kind of pressure, load, this kind of load, but it's still, I mean, the graphic cards gets so insanely warm, so if it's sitting on the flat on the desktop, it just, yeah, it cannot work properly over time. And I can hear just the fans going flat out inside of it. It's may crash in a little bit again, but if it does, hey, what are you gonna do? So I should basically just get my proverbial finger out of my proverbial behind and just go pick up my old computer. I don't think my friend is using it at the moment anyway, and then I can go have fun and hopefully have a more stable setup. So, in other news regarding my painting setup here, it's getting better and better. I've actually managed to mount one of my old monitors on the wall. So you can see it. I'll lift this without letting stuff fall down. So I have the monitor here. Not using it at the moment because I was a little late getting started today. I think that should be good. But the plan is definitely to use that because I can just look straight at it instead of looking to the side where the laptop is, and then have only a normal keyboard and mouse, maybe trackball, something that doesn't take a lot of space on my table itself, instead of having the laptop. It takes up too much time, makes a lot of noise that get picked up by the microphone. So things are coming along quite nicely. And I've also, since we just had payday yesterday, 2 days ago, Friday, I've also ordered from Hobby Zone in Poland. I've ordered some of the paint, the new paint rack they have, and a lot of other stuff. They do this really, really nice modular setup in MDF, laser cut MDF, and it's built so just you can buy whatever you need. And the different sizes of paint racks, different, I was just about to say different colors, but that's not really there at the moment. But if you need for paint racks for the Citadel parts, or the Army Painter Vallejo, or if you not need the large ones and all of that. So you can basically just mix and match, and it's all the same size, 30 centimeters by 15 centimeters by 15 centimeters. So you can just mix and match and place it and rearrange it. They have corner modules and all those things. I hope it's gonna arrive in a few days. I'm gonna get it assembled and set it up. So I will have an even more awesome work desk for all these projects. I am currently, as you can see, I have so much paint. I mean, this is not even all of it. I have only about half my paint in a rack, and I have this one here that I designed myself a few years ago, which I think is kind of nice. You have the 140K Imperial Eagle at the back. I have room for 28 dropper bottles of paint, but the last I counted, I had well over 50 parts for that, and I had about 40 or so of the Citadel parts. So I just need more. I need more paint racks. So instead of doing, expanding upon my design and going somewhere, having a cut, which would basically be dirt cheap, take some time, I decided to just order it in, partly because I don't really feel like spending an entire day doing it. I need to go somewhere to a fab lab with a laser cutter. But again, we're in Corona times, and I don't see any need to go out just so I can make my own paint rack. Let me get that back here. I don't see any reason to do that, since that would expose me to other people and would expose other people to me. So there's no, I don't think that is a valid purpose for going out these days, just a paint rack. I mean, it's absolutely silly. For so long I've just had the parts standing around wherever, so why go out now and risk more people getting infected? But I still wanted a paint rack, so I figured, hey, let's send some money and business down to Hobbyzone in Poland, because they do great work. So yeah. In the meantime, computer is still overheating quite a lot. If it goes down again, I'm not going to bring it back up, because I've been at this for over an hour now, and it's 8:30, and I really just want to get these miniatures done, which is realistic tonight if I don't have to mess around with computer related problems. So yeah, no, but again, you see, from a distance, even through camera, you should be able to see the details of the base and the models a lot better. Let's see if we can just angle the light a little bit. Now I can't see it because the lamp is in the way, but hopefully you can see that the model, all the details, they just pop a lot more. And it doesn't take long, all things considered, to do this kind of paint job, but it works. So yeah. So, and I can see that a couple of people have rejoined. I appreciate it. I appreciate you not disappearing. So, let us continue. Let's see, what we need to do now are the 6 cultists, the 6 undead, the high priest, and Hastur. That was the 3rd time this stream I said Hastur. So it can't have been him who crashed my computer. He only shows up when you've said it 3 times. So, but yeah, before the computer crashed, we ventured into deep semi-philosophical, existential topic of losing people and our own mortality, and I hadn't really expected it to go in this direction. So I'm getting back into the serious stuff. I don't know if I want to dwell on it too much, but at the same time, I think it's important to talk about these things openly and without them being deep things, because they are just an essential part of our existence, of our lives. So why not discuss them openly? Why should it be, oh, but we can't talk about this because I lost a friend. Unfortunately, I didn't get to know him half as well as I would have liked to, and I know that a lot of people were hit by his demise or his death a lot harder than I was. But so you're saying, oh, let's all have a mental breakdown together. But I think one of the reasons people get mental breakdowns over these things is that they're not used to talking about it. Which means that when you actually do open up or have a chat, those glancing blows are the worst. Yeah, and they make you think about life, about what goes on, who you are, what you want to do. And it's not like it was a huge revelation. It's not like it changed my life or anything like that. But I have to admit, it did hit a little hard. Not just losing a wonderful person, but I'm sure he had his mistakes and flaws like everyone else. So when I say wonderful person, it was my impression that he did a lot for the community. He was liked by a lot of people, and you don't end up there if you're a complete asshole. That's just all I'm saying. No, but he was only about a year and a half older than I am, which means that I will, in a few months, be the same age he was when he died. And yeah, they can send you an utter tailspin. Fortunately, I didn't end up there because I was still recovering from stress, so I was very focused on being selfish and taking care of myself. That makes dealing with loss and handling loss quite a lot easier, because you just go, this is kind of sad for me, of course also for friends and family, but I also have had so many things I needed to work with that there wasn't a lot of room for the grief for him specifically. I had way too much on my plate. That's may sound a bit harsh and callous, but that was the truth of it. That was the mental state I was in at that time. Didn't have a lot of room for more. But on the other side of it, thinking through all of that, especially now when I'm going, I'm getting close to that age. It just makes me realize that it can happen to everyone, and it's a good thing to be aware of all these things. There's a reason why the term memento mori, which is, I believe, Latin for remember your mortality or remember your death, I think is actually the correct translation. But yeah, I think it's good to keep those things in mind. I mean, why try and hide it? Why do the whole ostrich thing where you, not you specifically, where people seem to believe that if you don't talk about death, then maybe it will not happen. Because that is how the world works. You don't talk about something, and then it doesn't happen. You don't talk about bad things, you don't get bad things. Death remembrance. I'm pretty sure the memento mori is a reference to your own mortality and reminding you of it. But if it's called death remembrance or remember you must die. So I think I got this explained by someone who understands Latin. And the way I remember it is that the memento is remember. As in, you should remember. That there's so many different casi. whatever, to the verbs, and I am not good at grammar. I'm from Denmark. We don't have grammar. We just have silly words with a lot of exceptions. It's terrible, really. So I don't know all the right terms, especially not in English. So I think, but it is. I think it's you should remember that you will die, or not that you will die, but you should remember you will die. So the mori is your death, or the case of dying. That means you will die at some point out in the future, whatever it's called. So you are obviously Modifian talking about the Danish language, and you are absolutely correct. The only thing that is worse than Danish people speaking Danish is American people trying and horribly failing at speaking English, because that is what you do. When I was a kid, we used to say that if you want to talk American or speak American, you should just speak English with a potato in your mouth. Because it kind of sounds like you're trying to speak English, but you're really bungling the butchery of the American accent in Danish. What? Oh yeah, when Americans speak Danish, that's interesting. Just take my name. I mean, it is literally, you don't have to make any kind of pronunciation when you're saying skjald. It is just flat, straight, and yet, especially Americans just go skjald or skjald or any of a number of words that they can't really say. I'm really stepping on everyone's toes tonight. But if you ever go look up what my name actually means, you know why I'm doing it. Yeah, exactly. That's skjald. There's actually sort of a weird throaty. I can't. I also have a lisp, so some of the English words I'm terrible at pronouncing. That's my bad. But there's this throaty sound between the L and the M somehow. I have no idea where it comes from, and I have no idea how to say that. You just don't say anything. You just skip it. Swallowed letters. No, but the thing about my name is that there are no hidden letters. It's an S and a K. An S, K, as in kek, I guess, and a J, kind of like an ja, jawohl if you like German. I don't know if it's not really a hard one, and the A is a bit like, I think my English teacher in high school tried to learn us to pronounce calm, but with a sharp A, as in calm. Or kaka. I believe a bird makes that kind of noise. I don't remember which one. Gull, perhaps? Whatever. But that A, skjald, A sound. It doesn't have the A, it doesn't have the Y in it. Kind of like the A in an apple. Apple? Yeah, apple. Only the A sound from apple would kind of be it. So that's fairly simple, you can say that. And you have the L. Kind of like calm. The LM sound from calm. I don't get it, it's really easy. Someone please take notes, because I think I actually managed to explain the different words you should have in mind when trying to say this and put it all together. And it's of course going to be horrible, because trying to pronounce things in a foreign language that you're not used to hearing or speaking, of course it's going to be horrible. When I'm listening to people speaking in languages I don't understand, I can't even make out individual words because I don't have an ear for that. So I completely get it. I do. I just like to tease people. But yes, what are you saying? You're saying you learned about the soft D's and now compensate. I said well, but that's because the soft D doesn't include an E at the end. That's just D sound. Flod. There's no E after the soft Ds. At least that would be my explanation. But people do that because some words has that sound immediately after the soft D. But yeah, I mean, pronunciation is pain in the butt. And yeah, well, in true fashion, we just went from highly deep, slightly dark topics to messing around with trying to pronounce my name. That's just silly. So yeah. And meantime, the laptop is still burning away furiously. You might actually be able to hear it on the stream. You should also actually, do you still have music running in the background? You're allergic to death, give me existential angst, and I don't think my therapist is taking appointments. Yes to music. Okay. So your therapist is not taking an appointment. That doesn't really sound like a very good therapist, to be honest. Isn't that kind of what they do? I mean, yeah, they have the appointments, but that's sort of, I don't know, are they overbooked? If they are overbooked, why are they overbooked? That doesn't seem very responsible. Yeah, COVID is weird. Well, in many ways, I think COVID makes perfect sense and is highly successful from an evolutionary point of view. I mean, it's been done an amazing and a marvelous job at escaping detection for long enough to spread to a point where it became a pandemic. Then it turned out to be not as aggressive, that it basically just kills off a small group of people. And actually, as part of, as much as this sounds slightly jokish, I actually mean this quite seriously, and there's a point. So please bear with me. It is highly successful in the sense that it is spreading really fast. Well, not as effectively as if it was airborne. Please don't tell it that, because it will go airborne. It's just spreading, and then you get the symptoms. So having a really long incubation time, marvelous idea, splendid, perfect job. If what you want to do is spread all over the globe and infect as many people as possible, you want to do it, I won't say slow, but steady, because that's not really what it does. It's detection. It's just flying under the radar for long enough, and that means that people don't think they're ill. So people being people are just stupid, and that is what the virus is taking advantage of. I'm putting in a lot of anthropomorphism into the virus here. Doesn't obviously, it's not what happens. If you believe that, please don't believe it. No, but it's just, if you look at it from that point of view, it's the way to deal with our detection systems, our protective measures against these kind of things. So in that sense, it works. Now, I don't think that means that it is designed specifically to do this. I definitely don't think it's designed in that way. It's just evolved into this. But I think that's why it's the COVID we're being hit from. And not all the other things, because, I mean, even Ebola, which is seriously one of the things that's been high on the threat list and has killed a lot of people, it's really, really horrible disease. But it happens so quickly that sadly you die, but it also becomes apparent that you're ill, and then it makes it a lot easier to contain it. Whereas the COVID-19, or whatever SARS-CoV-2, is that the official name as well? But you know which one. It just seems like just spreading and just going through all the safety nets we have, mainly because people are stupid and they're more obsessed with their own paycheck, their own bottom line, than actually stopping this completely. I mean, if the entire world would somehow manage to shut down completely for a few months, no one goes out, well, essential personnel, whatever, full-blown hazmat suits, you know, all the things that's never gonna happen at any point, then I don't even know what would happen. Get a vaccine? Maybe. I don't know. I'm ranting, I'm rambling, that's what I'm here for. So what are you saying? You listen to a great, no, listen. To go more due to us. Yeah, I'm from a mobile now on previous pandemic, possible viruses. At least a great podcast called This Podcast Will Kill You by two epidemiologists. Yeah. And they were saying that these things come from pushing humans against animals in close quarters, and that we can expect about 5-ish new animal-human viruses each year. But if it's a one and done, a small village or a pandemic, we'll never know until it's done and over. You know, some 18 bat viruses that could be the next COVID that they're aware of right now. Yeah, and they've been, the proverbial, I mean, scientists have known about these types of viruses for 10 plus years, but it falls on deaf ears because it costs money to protect against it. And it seems like these days it is more, they're kind of going for a saying we had, especially back at university when I worked there. It's easier to get forgiveness than permission. So it's easier to just, instead of asking if you could do something, just go ahead and do it. And then afterwards, especially if it's a success, well, the people will forgive you for spending time, wasting time. But the kind of thinking that lies behind that, in my experience, is that people will not worry about the consequences when they do things. Instead, they just say, oh hey, we'll just do this and hopefully things will just work out eventually. That's why people will go out to bars and in large groups when everyone is screaming at them that they shouldn't, they should stay home, because it's just gonna go, it's okay, I'm just gonna go out and it'll be fine, it's gonna be perfectly fine, no big deal here, and so on. It's really stupid. Yeah. Then we got off on a tangent with that, and I'm not promoting any kind of conspiracy theories here. I'm not saying that I know anything about these things. I am not a doctor. I'm not an epidemiologist. I'm not a virologist. Anything like that. I'm an observer of human nature, and I draw my confusions, not my conclusions, my confusions, I think I'll start calling them that, from a far too little sample to be of statistical significance. So, yeah. But at the same time, I see what I see, and what I see makes me lose faith in the human race. Kind of makes me think of Idiocracy, the movie. We're basically just plowing on ahead, being completely ignorant, and just blindly hoping that things will work out in the end, instead of having a little good old-fashioned paranoia. I mean, let's pull this back into role-playing games, because then we can use metaphors for life instead of using real-life examples. Then we can talk about the role-playing game called Shadowrun. Wonderful game. You play really, really horrible bad guys often. That's kind of the setup. But it's in the near future, and you're playing the kind of people who run in the shadows, doing shadow runs. It's the name. It's a cyberpunkish game. You have cyberware. You have the Matrix as a computer system. This was before the movies called the Matrix, so it's just a general term for it. You have magic has awakened again, all these things, dragons flying out of volcanoes, the whole shebang. even had a dragon elected as president of what remains of the United States of America in the year 2057. But one thing about Shadowrun is that if you are this kind of shady character who lives outside the law, can still very much be taken down by the law if they ever catch you. You're basically, in many ways, you're basically bad guys. Guns for hire or industrial espionage or whatever, stuff like that. Or you can go the other way and do eco-terrorism, or you can actually be good guys or whatever, but the main setup is actually outside of the law. So for these people who don't have anyone to fall back on except themselves, one of the sayings is that paranoia is not a problem, it's a way of life. Or alternately, it's a survival instinct. And that is actually pretty true. And reminds me of a book that I read after watching a TED Talk, I guess promoting the book. It's by I think she's a psychologist, definitely author and TED talker, called Barbara Ehrenreich, who wrote a book called Smile or Die. And she wrote this sometime after the economic crash of 2008, 2009. And one of the main themes of the book is to break away from the movement of overly positive thinking, positive psychology. And I've heard different names and I've heard different definitions of some of these terms. So to clarify, what she's talking about is the movement that was prevalent back then, that you should just smile and not worry, basically just smile, be happy, and all your problems will go away. A little bit like the book called The Secret by an author whose name I don't feel like remembering, because the book doesn't tell me anything. But the whole concept of just be happy and smile and think happy thoughts, and the universe will give you all the good stuff. There are some really good aspects to keeping a positive mindset frame. Depict Chopra? No, I think it was something Rona Byron, Bly, something like that. I can't remember. But the concept that Barbara Ehrenreich is revolting a little bit against is the concept of you should just be happy. I mean, you just got fired from your job, life is a mess, you've been evicted from your home. Why aren't you smiling? You should just smile and all your problems will go away. The thing is, they don't go away simply because you smile. Now, if you can get an actual, honest, positive attitude when starting on problems, so you don't go into any kind of challenge saying, look, I'm going to be painting these 20 models, run the burn. Well, pretty close. If I go into this project of painting 20 models saying, oh, but I'm never going to get finished and it's going to look like crap and all that. Yeah, either I'm never going to finish or I'm never going to get anywhere, or it's going to take a really long time because I bicker about it. That's absolutely true. But I can't just sit at my desk thinking, oh, I wish these models were painted. I wish they would just, be painted, and then all of a sudden they're painted. Because that's not how it works. No matter how my mindset is, unless some random tooth fairy style creature shows up and paints them for me, and I haven't heard anyone say that that's what's going to happen. I mean, at some point someone will have to dip a paintbrush into some paint in a paint pot and apply the paint to the miniature. That has to happen no matter what. But it doesn't happen magically just because I think about it and try to will it to happen. I mean, if you want to go into the philosophy of that and willing things to happen, you can either, I would suggest, if you like the heavier stuff, I would recommend reading a little bit of Aleister Crowley and his thoughts on the concept of what magic is and how you change the world with your will, which is basically summarized so phenomenally well in the Hollywood movie Bedazzled, when someone makes in Bedazzled, Brendan Fraser, I think he's called, makes a deal with the devil, who's played by Elizabeth Huxley. Is that her name? And basically, he goes, "Oh yes, you're the devil, right? Ha ha, very funny. Cheers." Well, if you're the devil, and I've got 3 wishes, I wish I had a burger. Okay, so she drags him onto the bus. I think she actually makes him pay for the bus. They go down to the local burger joint, get in line, they get a burger, and she looks at him saying, "There, that's your first wish. You'll now have a burger." Because that's the thing about making these things happen. They don't materialize out of thin air. Of course, his next 2 wishes that she grants does materialize out of thin air, basically. So that's kind of sort of cheating the concept anyway. But it's a good point, because he complains that he did all the work. But yeah, says the devil, but you have a burger. You wished for a burger, now you have a burger. And I think that point is really, really interesting. Or maybe I'm just reading way too much into a joke in a Hollywood movie. But the concept is, sometimes you have to work for your wishes. I think that actually the whole entire point of that movie is that you can't just wish for something and get it. Because there's always going to be, in this case, a downside in the sense that the devil will find ways to mess up your wishes, so you get something that is within the wording of your wish, but definitely not what you wanted. Along the lines of, be careful what you wish for, you just might get it. But that first wish, getting the burger, and just going through the whole, but you didn't just give me a burger, I had to go pick it up, I even had to pay for it myself. Yeah, that's how things happen. So if you want something to happen, don't sit on your ass and wish for it and hope someone else will give it to you. Get off your ass, get yourself in gear, and find out how you can make it happen. Because that is how you make your dreams come true. That sounded way too much like I'm trying to say something clever. I'm not. It's just me ranting, as always. But you keep coming back and you keep telling me you want me to keep ranting, so that's what I'll be doing. While painting miniatures you can't see because my camera angles is completely off. But I haven't tinkered with all of this yet. I need to move my camera to the other side of myself and all these things. But I really wish that would just happen and someone would just magically make it go to the other side. And if I had had a second camera that I could switch to, it would have been a really good joke. But I don't. So I just sit here and talk to myself, since it seems like people have gone to sleep by now. Mission accomplished. Hey, I tried. I mean, I didn't even realize how good of a joke it could have been until I started just talking about it. And just briefly I went, how can I make my camera move to the other side without switching to a be right back screen for 5 minutes while I shuffle it around? And the shuffling around makes it really obvious that I'm doing it. But if I just had a second camera positioned and just switched to another scene, that would have been fun. Anyway, speaking of fun, I am putting on the finishing touches on the big guy himself, Mr. H. And once I've done the edge of the base here, I will have done all the painting of the base and the shading of the base. I need to fix a few mistakes in the yellow parts, but I will not be doing that until the black wash here is dried up, which it won't be for half an hour or so. Yeah, it's all closed up and blurry. I also need, the blurry part is probably because I have the camera so close to the painting area. I've just basically not taken the time, because I have plenty of time, but I haven't taken the time to just play around with different positions of the camera, putting it away, putting it farther away so you can actually see it and having a better angle. I'd also like to play around with the aperture value on the camera, because hopefully I can get a sort of longer focal area, which will mean that maybe the entire miniature could be in focus. But since you're here, you will be subjected a little bit to an experiment. Right. I've actually ordered but not received a mounting head for the camera where I can actually do 380 off the table. But if I do like this, it might actually be better. Unfortunately, yeah, the camera is not really steady because I only have the screw. The screw I have is, what can I do? I'm just playing around with the camera settings. Don't think I can play around too much with the aperture when it's in video mode, of course. But basically zooming in a bit might give a better angle, get better focus, instead of if I have it all the way up to the camera. Well, now it focuses, but see here at this is about 10 centimeters off. It can't actually focus because it needs to be about 15 centimeters away. And yeah, at 15 centimeters, if I need to get all of it in frame, I need to do like this. But then it gets a wider angle, which means that it gets sort of a larger area, and then it starts focusing on all the other things, which definitely sucks. So zooming in gives sort of a more narrow field of view, but then you need to move the camera away, otherwise it'll just take up the entire image like it's kind of doing now. But I can't really do much until I get the tilt head, where I can tilt, sort of, I can take the camera, tilt, pitch, and do also the almost 360 degrees freedom on all angles. That way the camera won't be sitting at an odd angle when I'm positioning it. I should also move it over to the right, so I'm not, when I'm painting, I have a tendency to sit like this and paint. Which means that the camera is just filming my hand and not the miniature. If I was left-handed, or if I moved the camera away, oh, this is gonna go horribly wrong because I'm not left-handed, then it would be something like me painting like this, and you would actually be able to see where the brush hits the miniature. That's the idea, at least. But apart from a little touch-up on the yellowish things, I think it actually looks pretty nice. That, yeah, we have things up and running. We have all the yellow painted, we have the bases painted gray, we have the paint bases shaded. So can I at least get a decent final shot of all these lovely miniatures? No, I can't. So yeah, progress. Hey, welcome back, Ron. Could of course also just move the miniatures, but hey, that would kind of be cheating. So we have here Mr. H. Haster in the background. We have all of that. And over here, if I don't fall off my chair, we also have, what we have here, a handful, there's 12 of these desecration markers that are also painted. Well, let me just hold it up here, if you can see it. I just left them on this piece of board where I primed them. Well, yeah, a little touch up on the yellow, and then I'm all done. So yeah, doing side stuff while listening, that is perfectly fine. I just didn't really know who actually showed back up after the stream got on. But anyway, if you will stick around, I will see if we can find some people to go raid, because that's always fun. I don't know if anyone I know are streaming at the moment, but this might be a chance for you to get to know some other streamers. I promise I won't send you towards anyone horrible, but I will try to find someone with good humor and lots of awesome people. But thank you for joining. Thank you for sticking around, listening to my antics. It has been great. But I can see that none of the people I know on Twitch are actually streaming. So I will simply just bid you good night. I hope you have a wonderful start on November. I hope you had a happy Halloween yesterday. And have fun. See you.